know.
So anyway, I mean, you're also looking at me, right? So you can also see my face.
I can see you, Ernesto, and let me just indicate here that this recording is uncut, unedited. This is Ernesto Verdugo, and he is responsible for an event in Dubai where Mitch Carson and myself, in addition to Bonnie, will be contributing and supporting a group of people who will secure media on one or more main stages, television, radio, print, in addition to bonus opportunities that, quite frankly, could change their lives. And this is not a what if, it's an absolute. So we're discussing here his strategy with additional comments potentially from me on helping students in preparation to prepare for a TED style talk, which is an art form. And we want to make it as easy as possible. So Ernesto, I'm excited to hear from you what you've already been sharing with your previous successful students.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I think most importantly, TED is, let's try to find out what TED is. I think that's the important thing, because I have to assume that everybody knows what TED is, but possibly some of you are not 100% familiar with what TED is. So let me just go a little bit over what that is. TED is it is technology, entertainment, and design. It was something that was created in the early 2000s. It's a conference, a global set of conferences run by a non-profit sampling foundation under the slogan, ideas worth spreading. I love that slogan from them, because that's what it is. I mean, if you go to TED.com, there's hundreds or possibly thousands of different talks of speakers all over the world, which are addressing a range of topics that it is research and practice on science, culture, and what they do is they use storytelling. So these kind of talks are very powerful because they have launched a lot of careers from a number of speakers. TED is a platform that has had anybody from Bill Gates, from Tony Robbins, from Bill Clinton, you name it. I mean, there's been so many speakers that have spoken in their platform that now they started organizing events in different parts of the world. And there's a difference. Now they have TED, which is the original event that happens in Long Beach, California, I think once a year. And to get to speak in TED, it's very difficult. But you could get to speak on TEDx. And this is one of the things that I want to let you know. I mean, we are putting together an event which is a TED-like event. Obviously, it has no relation whatsoever with TED. But I think the practical format is just great, because what happens is that many of these speakers use their TED Talks to become their sample reel, and that sample reel becomes, of course, what is going to be setting them up for a number of different speaking gigs. And that's exactly what most people would like to get themselves into TED or into TEDx. TED is going to be very difficult. I mean, you need to have a big reputation in order to be in the main event in TED, but there's a ton of TEDx events. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to train you for the TED-like event that we're going to be doing, but also that you will consider at some point also trying to apply to TEDx. In fact, we are trying to get the people in Dubai from TEDx, so to see that they could be with us, because of course it is very powerful. And even though that you're right now not getting yourself on TEDx, we are going to train you so that you will know exactly what you need to do to prepare a TED-like talk. So that is the pre-frame that we want to do for this training. And this, Joel, I want to tell you, I mean, because this is something that I learned from you, and I have been obviously practicing it for a long time, but I know that you're very, very strong on that. You always have to quote who's actually the source of the knowledge that you're sharing. And I really went to the horse's mouth. I really went to TED and made the entire investigation of how TED trains their speakers. And this is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you. So let me just share with you the 7 steps that TED whenever they're training their speakers for TEDx or for TED itself, they are using, and they have a 7-step formula. And we're going to cover step by step each and every one of the steps so that you know exactly what needs to happen. So first of all, step number 1 is getting familiar with the form. TED has a very peculiar form, and we will talk about it. I'll just first mention each and every one of the steps, and then we will go over each and every one. So first of all, get familiar with the form. Then you have to develop an idea. 3rd, you have to make an outline on your script. 4, you have to create your slides. 5, you have to rehearse, and this is a very important part because most speakers, especially those which are getting started, they don't rehearse, and this is a very important one. Then you have to give your talk, and then you have to savor the glory. So those are the steps. Now, let's just get started. First of all, with the getting familiar with the form. And this one, I think it's just absolutely vital. This is where many speakers, even they are seasoned speakers, speakers that have been doing platforms a number of times, they do not respect. And I tell you, me as an event organizer, I get incredibly upset when a speaker takes longer. I mean, if he was allocated 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, that they take longer than they were supposed to be taking. That, first of all, is unrespectful. Second, it shows amateur behavior. And 3rd, it is something that is just not done. I have had experiences in my own trainings where, for example, the speaker goes over his time and then sabotages the speaker and hijacks the audience by saying, "Are you enjoying what I'm saying? Can I keep on going longer?" And that is just an absolute no. There's no way that you can do a thing like over here, right? Joe, have you ever had this experience also in the past?
Well, I teach it. I mean, obviously, I just finished an 8-day training where I train not only the world's top speakers, but also newbies. And I teach them precisely why they cannot afford to go 1 minute over. My contracts, which I give them for their events, when I have a multi-speaker event, if Ernesto Verdugo is on my stage and you go over 5 minutes, you lose 10% of your profit. If you go over 10 minutes, you lose 25%. If you go over 15 minutes, you lose 50%.
Yeah.
If you go over 20 minutes, you lose 100%. I have a step contract because you have destroyed the opportunity for the last speaker, the next speaker. You've destroyed the momentum for the event, and you've shown me that you're an amateur and you will never come back. And I don't care how good you are or how much money you make. That's how serious it is. So when Ernesto is telling you here, it is okay to finish early because you can always take questions. You can always do your bookstore at the back of the room. It is not okay to go overtime.
Yeah, exactly. So in the format from TED, the maximum is 18 minutes. And once again, the maximum is 18 minutes. I have seen TED Talks that last 3 minutes, and they are equally as powerful. So it's fine to do 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, but you should never go over the allocated time. In the case of what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be training you to do is a talk for 7 minutes, which obviously it's okay to do 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. It's perfectly fine, but never you should go even 1 second after the 7 minutes because I mean, there's a ton of speakers which are going to be joining the event, and that of course will put tremendous strain on everyone.
Not to mention the fact that we have to change over with computers sometimes. People are delayed when they walk on and off the stage. People are hesitant. There's a million things that go on. We also want you to have the flexibility that if you're given a secondary opportunity at this event in Dubai and then potentially Bahrain, no guarantee on that, that second opportunity is based on those who can take their 7 minute, reducing it to 5 or under. And if you cannot do that, the same exact presentation, you will not get that potential, no guarantee now, but there's a potential secondary opportunity to speak.
Exactly. I think this teaches a little bit also flexibility because I mean, it has happened to me, and this is nothing to do with the, it has happened to me as a speaker, but it is common, not very common, but it is common enough to mention it. When you are a speaker and you have been promised, well, you know, you're going to be getting 1 hour. And then anything can happen. There could be something happen in the venue, or something happen with the electrical equipment, or whatever it is. And suddenly they tell you, well, you don't have an hour. You're suddenly going to have 45 minutes because that's all we have. And yeah, but I have prepared for an hour. And then you have to say, well, you know, if you're a professional speaker, you have to be able to know how to compress, because that happens last minute. So those kind of things on flexibility are also very important. So knowing on that topic, yes, we have to be prepared for the 7 minutes. As we were saying, in TED, they have 8 minutes. But you have to, as Joe was mentioning, we have to be flexible enough to also be able to do it on a 5-minute time slot, so that you will know how these kind of things can happen.
I make rather enormous sums of money closing at events and presenting from the heart and connecting, really connecting with the core audience. When I tell a producer that I'm going to do 90 minutes, I am off that stage, even if it means sacrificing my money at the 90-minute point.
Exactly.
It is my responsibility. And so what I always teach the speakers is, if you're going to do something that's 7 minutes long, take 25% of the 7. Let's just say you're doing a 6-minute presentation, which would be a really good target for this event, by the way. Maximum of 7, 6 would be perfect. At the 4.5-minute mark, you should be done in your hotel room rehearsing. You should be done in the car rehearsing. Done.
Yeah.
Because there's a 25% fudge factor. It's something magical that happens when you have a live audience. It always takes longer. There's a feedback loop. There's applause. There's an emotional response. There's breathing. There's 100 different things that happen. And this is an always, ALWAYS, always occurrence. You need that additional time. So practice for 4.5. That'll take you 6, probably 7.
Exactly. Now, on this, exactly when you were mentioning, the idea of having a talk like this is to showcase your well-formed ideas on a short period of time, so that you will be able to use this as a sample reel to sell to other people that your skills as a speaker. Now, remember, this presentation needs to be very down to the ground, short chunks, exactly as it reads there.
Yep.
And the idea is that you have a happy audience afterwards. So it's just not only talking about a few things, and this is exactly what takes us to the next point, which is going to be developing your idea. And this translated into what we are doing, I think this is where the marketing goes in. You need to have a topic that is going to say, well, wow, I really want to listen to this presentation. See, for example, one of our speakers has a great title. I mean, I looked at all the titles that everybody has been submitting, and the title of this presentation is 5 steps to 6 figures on LinkedIn. I mean, I do not know about you, but I immediately want to listen to that conversation instantly. But there's other topics which are, for example, the way that I discover myself. I mean, that doesn't say anything.
My presentation is 10 simple moves to 7 figures, speaking about what it is you love. It's a 7-figure income, and it is. Anyone I've trained who's implemented. So my whole presentation comes down to 10 moves that I teach for a 7-figure outcome, speaking on what it is you love.
Yeah. So starting from here, you have to make sure that idea comes through and says, wow, I really want to know about more. Because if the title's poor, most likely, and this is a very important thing, I mean, the audience in TED and the audience also in the events that we're going to be putting together, that nobody's paying to come over here. They're coming because, of course, we're doing some marketing and there's going to be there. But of course, if the title of the topic, if the title of your presentation is not good enough, we're going to have people leaving, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. So that is also part of your responsibility. So here in TED, they teach you, well, what makes a good idea for a talk? So here they're recommending, well, something new, something surprising, challenging a belief, an all new idea. And it's exactly like the title of a book. I mean, the title of a book is exactly what's going to be selling the book. So you have to be very careful in how you're going to be crafting your title. So before we go into how to craft your idea, one of the questions that comes with TED, and I am sure that is going to be also coming on this specific training, is, do I need to be an expert on my topic? And I love the answer that they give here. You don't need to be the expert. You need to be an expert. Yes. So if you're getting positioned on the stage and you can talk about a subject, people are going to immediately assume that you're an expert, not the expert, but an expert. So whatever you're going to be presenting, make sure to check your facts, make sure that your sources are reliable, and make sure that whatever you're going to be talking actually makes sense and you don't come up with something that you're pulling out of your sleeve. I think that's a very important point right there. What do you think on that, Joel?
Well, I teach people to access their personal mastery, the thing that they do in life, the thing they believe in. It could be a hobby. It could be a belief system. It could be intimate communication with their loved ones that they've come down with a process from, that they've disseminated a process from. The idea is, if you come from mastery, something that you've taken ownership of, something that you have unconscious competence with, then there's no way to fail. Exactly. That's when you stand before an audience as a master. And by the way, at the end of hearing your process here, which I love the slides here. I love the supporting simple images here where you're going through your points. I will also show a process here at the end that will show people how to potentially build something very quickly that would enable them to do this in a very simple fashion and take all the confusion out of it. Because even after we go through this, some people don't have a creative idea. They have a mental block. They're shut down. And then we don't want you to feel that way. We're going to get you through this, even if you don't feel creative, even if you don't feel that you're particularly articulate, even if you just don't have the confidence, we're going to make sure that you shine. And I have a process for that. And so Ernesto and I and Mitch Carson are not going to let you fail. We also want you to know that from this event, you'll be videotaped at multiple angles, and it's going to be professionally edited as a gift. And it really is a gift because it's part of what you invested in, just as I've invested to be here and everyone else that's going. I'm not coming for free. I'm paying like everyone else. Even though I'm on the faculty, I've been asked to demonstrate and also speak and help you. And I said, my pleasure. I have a long-term relationship with Mitch Carson. So understand something, that we're not going to let you fail. And the editing will take the best slices from what you've done. So even if you had a horrible pause or something you felt that was horrifying happen, we're going to teach you to breathe and just continue. You don't start over again. You just continue. You will have enough slices on the video to make for a sizzle reel, something that will generate opportunity for you, potential income, leverage, or launch a new career.
Yeah. You
don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. And on this topic, I'm sure that you have had a lot of experience with this, Joe. What happened? We have a few people that have absolutely no experience on the stage, and they, of course, they don't feel that they, in one way or the other, deserve that position of expert. how do you think that they can overcome this fear?
I'll be showing them how to take their life experience, which they are an expert at.
Exactly.
Everyone is an expert at what it is they've experienced, their pain, their gain, their breakthroughs emotionally, their breakthroughs experientially. And if they don't have any other ideas, we will be able to take that. I call it the 10 pick, 10 moves about them where someone else lives vicariously through their experience and is able to have a revelation, a new perspective, a new point of view. That's valuable in and of itself. It may not get you to TEDx or TED, but it will definitely position you as someone who's caring and sharing from the platform, and people will find you interesting, authentic, and they'll be interested in hearing more about your point of view.
Exactly.
So either way,
so
we'll have you covered.
Perfect. So now, once again, is my idea ready? Is the title of my presentation compelling enough? This is exactly what this slide is all about. So you write down there, you take a white piece of paper, write down your idea in 1 or 2 sentences, because I have also seen some subjects which are incredibly long. And I always say, well, 10 words maximum. I mean, I think that's more than plenty to give a powerful statement. And then ask yourself these questions. Is my idea new? Is it interesting? Bear in mind, we have a very broad audience. That doesn't have to mean that if it's interesting for you, that doesn't mean that it's going to be interesting for everybody. So try to make sure that your topic, your idea, is interesting for everybody. Is it factual and realistic? And here you have to think, well, can some action be executed of what I'm going to be teaching? So just don't leave any bunch of ideas just there on the air. Make sure that you have something which is something that anybody can implement as fast as possible. In my eyes, those are the most effective TED Talks. The ones that even if it is one point that people say, well, this is something that I can implement. This is something that I can do. This is something that really will bring value to my life right away. Those kinds of things are going to be very effective. So the moment that you have that and you answer yes to all these 3 questions, then I think you can proceed and start creating the rest of the presentation.
My mentor, primary mentor, Mary Kay of Mary Kay Cosmetics, the pink lady, she taught me 3 things. Is it easy? You should all be writing this down. Is it easy? If it isn't easy, they won't do it, they won't consume it, and they will not implement on any level. So your concept must be something that sounds like they can wrap themselves around it emotionally and strategically. Is it easy? Number 2, she said, Joel, you will be a multi-millionaire by age 30. It took me till 33. She said, does it work? Second question, is it easy? Does it work? The idea that you're sharing must be something that will work for others, and they must believe it. So it must be presented so simply, so elegantly, that they know it's easy, and you must be able to prove, that's the best presentation of all, that you can prove while you're on the stage that it actually works with an outcome that's based on facts, something relevant that we can see that happened historically in the past, it's now happened. They have to know it'll work. Third key that Mary Kay gave me, is it easy? Does it work? Can I do it? They need to know in the fabric of their DNA, sitting in that audience, that they can actually implement that idea, that concept, that system, that approach, that technique, that tool, that breakthrough revelation. And if they have all 3, is it easy? Does it actually work? Can I do it? Yes, yes, yes. You have an incapacity for failure.
Exactly.
With that group.
Exactly. Very good. So now this is a very important topic. A lot of people ask, not only me, but I know that they ask it in talk and TED, and in number of different speaking events. What is the best structure for a talk? And I love how they frame it here in TED. They say, well, this is a trick question because in reality, there's no best structure that works for everyone. So the structure that they are asking you to follow is, first of all, make sure that the audience cares about what you're talking about. Make sure that you grab their attention. Make sure that you connect with them. And there's a great TED Talk that I recommend you to watch. It's a TED Talk that was done by Al Gore. He was talking about global warming, and it was just after he lost the presidency in Florida. And it's very interesting how he connects, because of course he's going to be talking about a topic that is relatively serious, but he wants to make sure that everybody connects with him, and that he knows that possibly a lot of people didn't vote for him, and they didn't really like him at the beginning, but the way that he connects with the audience is awesome, because he starts making fun of how he actually lost the presidency and how he's now a normal citizen, that he doesn't have the Secret Service behind him, that he has now to drive himself, that he has now to eat in fast food shops. That presentation itself, I think it's worth watching, because it will help you see how no matter at what level you are, you can really connect with people. So point number one is make sure that you connect with your audience. Then afterwards, explain your idea, be as clear and as convinced about your idea as possible. Describe your evidence, and then at the very end have a call to action, or it doesn't have to be a call to action to purchase something, because of course that's not the point here, but that your message is compelling enough for people to say, well, great, this is something that I can do. I remember Jim Rohn was always saying, well, when you're talking about, it's not, oh, how good speech this was. It was more than anything trying to say, well, now I'm ready to take action. And that's the kind of impact that you want to have with your talk.
So if I may, Ernesto,
yeah,
I'm going to demonstrate something that I wrote in a book called How to Persuade People Who Don't Want to Be Persuaded, an international bestseller. I'm going to provide it to all of your students as a gift, even though I'm not supposed to, electronically. I'm sending them the book. Don't talk about this because it's off the shelf and you're not allowed to do that. But I wrote it, and I hired a professional writer to make sure it was written well. When I walk out on the stage in front of one of my speeches or presentations, and I don't like the word speeches or presentations, you're living in front of the audience. Has to be something you care about. I'm going to move the microphone out of the way here, and I'm going to show you the opening, Ernesto.
Yeah.
If I was introduced to TED tomorrow morning, this would be my opening. How many of you remember being a child and having an imagination where no one ever told you it couldn't be done? Obviously, I'm trying to blow a bubble. And how many of you remember having tried many things in life and failed? I'm not able to blow a bubble yet, but I will be. I'll keep trying. How many of you gave up? Wow.
There you go.
And what if, in manifesting that dream that as a child was so challenging because nothing came in your way, what if you could crystallize that dream and nothing kept you from having it? In the next 6 minutes, I'll show you how to actually get in touch with your dream and then take 3 steps to manifest it. A dream you've never had, a dream you've shelved and didn't believe possible. Together, we'll be able to manifest that dream, bring it to fruition, impact the lives of others. So, what I'm suggesting here is that you don't always have to open with words. I can open with a transformation mechanism. Most people in the audience remember, men and women, that at some point in their life, they've tried to blow a bubble. And it required a couple times. They don't expect that bubble to become real. So if I'm demonstrating that a dream can be manifested, this is called a transformation mechanism. And the book I'm going to send you all is full of them. It will inspire you. It will teach you ways to take an idea and crystallize it. When you can demonstrate something that you're doing, the audience is on board within seconds.
Exactly.
So I'm going to provide, while you speak now, I'm going to grab 2 other examples here, and they will understand that there are no limitations here in how you open. You just don't hurt anyone. You don't offend anyone. Don't talk about religion or politics, or you will lose 2/3 of your audience. You must be very careful when bringing up religion, politics, and bad language. You're going to offend people, turn them off, and you've lost them, and then you're going to spend the 6 minutes trying to recover what it is you had to begin with.
Yeah.
They're already on board. They're already hoping that that's going to be a precious and profound 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes. Ernesto.
Exactly. So we have here the four points. First of all, make your audience care. Very similarly to what Joe was saying. Then you explain your idea, you describe your evidence, you have a call to action, and then there's one very important point, which is exactly what Joe was going through, which is reveal the new reality. And here they recommend the TED Talk from Nancy Duarte, and it's great. I really recommend you to watch that. You go to TED.com or go to YouTube and look for Nancy Duarte's talk, and then you will see exactly what they are explaining with that little graph that they have there and how powerful this could be for your presentation. So now the important thing that you need to understand is that whatever structure you decide, what you need to do is you have to make sure that you're communicating an idea effectively. What you want is that people say, well, great. I mean, what you're telling me is fantastic. I want to know more. So in reality, there is no right or no wrong way. It's just your way. So once again, one of the things that I really do not like very much from whenever you're learning how to speak is you tend to try to become your mentor. And that is okay. I mean, as they say, well, you know, when you're learning how to paint, it's okay to paint the masters, but then you have to start taking your own way of thinking. That I think is incredibly important. So one of the most impactful TED Talks that you will find is Simon Sinek talking about your why. And I see a lot of people that want to become a TED speaker, watch this presentation, and then want to do exactly what Simon was doing there, which in a way, okay, it's fine. However, once again, you have to be you. That's the most important thing that you need to do. So you don't have to be Simon Sinek. You don't have to be Joe Bauer. You don't have to be Mitch Carson. You don't have to be Ernesto Verdugo. No, that's not what it is all about. You have to make sure that you come across. That's a very important thing because that's what you're going to be using this presentation for. You have to know how to sell yourself there on stage. So here are some things, and Joel has mentioned some of them. First of all, in the 7 minutes that you're going to be having for your talk, make sure that you don't apologize. Oh, I'm sorry that this happened. It's the first time that I am here on the stage. It's the first time that I'm going to be running my presentation. So please don't bear with me. No apologizing whatsoever. Yeah. Please, this is just very important because it happens very frequently. Make sure that you're not reading the slides. And this is something that just absolutely drives me nuts when I see speakers that turn around their head and they look at they look at whatever quote or whatever having there. Please make sure that you're not reading the slides, that you're not reading the quotes, because that's just absolutely a disaster. Joe mentioned it already. No swearing, because of course that's going to kill your presentation. Make sure that not hidden agendas. And for that, I talk about politics. I talk about whatever situation is in religion, whatever. Make sure that there's no hidden agendas, because that will also kill your presentation. Once again, no looking at the screen. That is just absolutely terrible. In many cases, there's a good possibility that you will see your presentation in front of you. If you don't have that possibility, make sure that you can just stand aside and look at it, but never give your back to the audience, because that is just a killer for the video that we're going to be doing for you. Also, no awkward pauses. And that in a moment, Joel's going to be explaining to you how you can avoid these awkward pauses. No nervous spacing. I mean, it makes me also laugh to see some amateurish speakers that they are told that in order for them to be a better speaker, they need to be pacing, and then they look like if they are a tiger on a cage. That's just not how it is done. And also, Joel is going to be explaining a little bit more about that in a second. When you're doing your presentation, and I tell you, this is a very important thing for me because English is not my first language. I mean, every single thing I'm doing now, I mean, I check with Mitch. I check with somebody that can make sure that your spelling is correct in your slides, because it can also kill your presentation. Make sure that your grammar is correct. And also make sure that under no circumstances, as we mentioned it earlier, make sure that you do not go over the time slot.
So I have prepared now two things. I'd like to add one thing to your equation there. I agree with all of those things, and I've trained 1,574 of the world's top closers and speakers. That is a fact. The best of the best working in Australia, the UK, and the United States. And the one thing consistently that I see at professionals, these are professionals, is they will tell you how nervous they are. I'm really nervous. No one's interested. It doesn't establish rapport.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking to hear from someone who is contained within their body, happy within their skin, has their legs, has their feet firmly rooted on the ground. We listen to those, not those that are hungry, not those that are nervous. We listen to people who have ownership, dominion. They're at home with their material. If I was a chiropractor, for example, or someone talking about back alignment, I'd walk out on stage and I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, look at my posture. My ears are directly above my shoulder. Please look to the person to your right or to your left and see if their ears are directly over their shoulder. Please take a look at your belly right now, how you're seated, your alignment. In fact, you're looking at hip replacement. You're looking at procedures that will run you $30, $40, $50, $80,000, and they may be unnecessary. I am wearing something on my body that changes one's life instantly. As I remove my jacket, you will see that I have something strapped around my belly. I have something connected to my shoulders that has moved my shoulders back, that has put me in perfect alignment. My ears are directly above it. And with one snap on this piece of Velcro, and this can be worn underneath any garment, this harness changes everything.
Yeah.
And within a period of 2 to 3 months, you have a new behavior, a new physical behavior. I'd like a volunteer from the audience here that would like to change their life in 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds. Someone has back pain. Come on over. I put it on them. The whole presentation could be the realization of that person going, oh my, because it happens like that.
Yeah.
So know that if there's something you can demonstrate, it makes you confident, because now you're not worried about your words. You're just going through the structure of what it is you did.
Exactly.
Third example, I showed you the bubble manifestation as a transformation mechanism. I have here in my hand something made of very natural substances on the planet. I am now working my shoulders. I'm now working my back. I'm now working my bicep. I'm now working my tricep. I can work every area of my body out, and it may not look like I'm doing anything, but I begin to perspire. It changes my metabolism. It burns fat. It tones the body. And it's based on science. You, sir, come over here now. Who here would like to tighten up their body, end up with a lean and elegant body, and have fun doing it? Put your hands right here and take this out of my hands and just pull. Start here in front. Now to the side. Other side. This is called the spin gym. The woman who made the spin gym put it inside a convenient carrying case. She includes the DVD. She made herself millions upon millions of dollars by demonstrating the product.
Exactly.
So if you have something demonstratable, and Ernesto, I don't mean to cut you off here. We're both just giving ideas. I want you to know that there are no rules here.
Yeah.
If
Absolutely.
you can demonstrate something, it takes you outside of the words, because sometimes the words don't mean that much to you, and it has to have meaning. We need you to care about the audience, demonstrate or talk about something that they can do that will change, alter, restructure something in their life. And even if it's 1, 2, 3 points, that's enough. The important thing is they know when they get done with you that they are capable of a new experience, a new revelation, a new skill set, a breakthrough potentially. You need to be excited about what you're talking about. I call it the gift shift, that you have something inside you that so turns you on that you can't help but share it. So today, by providing a couple examples of things that generate an immediate result, the audience cannot look away. Multi-million-dollar products. You mean, Joel, we could actually motivate people to invest in an idea that we have? If you look at Shark Tank, the presentations are very short. They're under 5 minutes, and there's a structure.
Yeah.
And the structure is very exacting.
Yeah.
Now, Ernesto, when I do my presentation, if I look at the screen for a second, it's because I want the audience to look at the screen.
Exactly.
That's if I'm making a deliberate point. But most likely, when you speak, you'll have a cueing mechanism, a laptop or screen that shows you what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
You're infinitely more powerful. Now, what if the screen went dead? That's why we don't want you looking at the screen.
Exactly.
You're supposed to know your timing and your images, even if they weren't there. Vital.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very important point because, for example, I mean, I've been watching TED Talks to be able to, well, first of all, learn from them, but also try to see that there's a ton of different speakers. I mean, everybody's different. So most importantly, there's speakers that don't use slides. There's speakers that don't use notes. There's speakers that that you can see that they put their notes. And actually, this is a secret that possibly you don't even know. Tony Robbins actually does this. He puts his notes, they are stick there in the floor, and he reads them while they're there on the floor. So, I mean, every single speaker has their own different way of impacting people. And one of the things that most people get very afraid of is, well, but the thing is, I need to make my presentation. You don't, in many cases, you don't need a presentation. I mean, Joel was using some prompts. You can have a lectern. You don't have to have a lectern. I mean, you will be able to do a PowerPoint presentation, no PowerPoint presentation, 3 slides, 5 slides. There's a ton of different ways of doing it. And that's why I'm saying, well, you need to see what suits you better into what you're going to be doing. As long as you get somebody to say, wow, that was a great presentation, I feel like taking action, then you have accomplished your goal. And I think that's an important thing to bear in mind.
Now, I want you to know, Ernesto, that I am preparing for all of those attending this event a structure that if they come with no idea, none, if they don't want to build any slides, they don't want to find images, I will have 7 compelling images that are carefully engineered and a process that goes with them, where I'll be able to take anyone attending this event and they'll be able to stand with those 7 images, 1 minute per image, and they'll be able to get through their presentation smoothly and in an emotionally compelling manner. I have a process for it. I've proven it, and I'm engineering it specifically for this event in Dubai. I will teach them that process. So if by some chance you find Ernesto and I overwhelming right here, that this is a bit intimidating and you're having trouble shutting down, you feel like you're, I'm getting scared and I don't know that I can do this, I will hold your hand. We're going to be there coaching you. We're going to be there nurturing you. Mitch, Bonnie, Ernesto, and myself are going to help you not only prepare for television, the radio interview, your TED-style talk, your presence. You're going to leave this event feeling a sense of empowerment. You're going to leave this event feeling really good about your ability to communicate with anyone and on any topic. This is not just about the media experience. It's about you feeling fabulous. One of my kids calling, but I won't take their call. You're my family right now. And I want to make that point that when you come to this event in Dubai, you're going to leave with relationships for life. There's going to be accountability and alliance partnerships. Accountability partnerships, people that you'll be able to depend on, that'll serve and support you long term. And alliance relationships is that Ernesto and Mitch, myself, Bonnie, the entire faculty are setting up conditions by which you may be able to monetize at this event and create opportunities for yourself. This sizzle reel is going to open a door wide, a door that you may have never entered before. So we got you covered.
Yep.
The training today is for those who want to really pour themselves in, and we recommend you do that, into a preparation mindset and process. But for those of you that are in kind of a fear mode, then we just want you to relax.
Yeah.
We want you to relax and decide on something that you do well, a hobby, a profession, your character. What is it about that makes you unique? Make some notes. Come to the event. We're going to train you no matter what.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay, better than okay. You're going to shine.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So now we go to point number 4 and the 7 that we have to cover, and that's about creating the slides. And once again, I mean, should I use slides? Should I not use slides? It depends on you what you want to do. If the slide is helping you clarify the information for the audience, absolutely use it. But if you're going to be using slides and you're going to be death by PowerPoint, you're going to be doing death by PowerPoint full of bullet points and all these kinds of things that you will see only in boardrooms in corporate America or corporate world, that I would not really recommend you to do. Is try to keep it as simple as possible. Once again, Ted recommends, there's 3 names, Dan Phillips, Jared Kroszewska, and Rick Gudotti, so that you can see how the slides are used. There's a ton of ways of doing it, but now what I'm going to be teaching you in a second is how I use my slides to make my points in the most effective and easy way possible. Because, of course, possibly many of you had never done slides, so you're asking yourself, well, how do I get myself started? So here it is what goes in your slides. So make sure that you use images and photos. Make sure that they're images that people are going to remember, right, of a person, of a place, of things that you are going to be mentioning. Right? Make sure that you have 1 point per slide, 1 little bit of text or no text if at all possible. I mean, sometimes remember that the presentation, it is a cue for you to say something and not for people to read with you. I mean, that's the worst thing that you can do, getting people to read exactly what you're also having there on the slide. And try not to use bullet points. So that's how you should be doing it. Now, next one, and this is an important thing, the format of the slide. And this, I will be showing you specifically how, what to do and how to do it. This is an important thing, and we're going to be talking Mac, and we're going to be talking PC. You could be working in PowerPoint, you could be working in Keynote, and you have to be very careful with this kind of thing, because that can really screw you. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to avoid these kind of things. Now, if you are going to be using a little bit of text, you have to make sure that you use sans serif font. The fonts which are recommended in TED, and I also use them. I mean, I actually don't use Helvetica because there's many computers that don't use Helvetica. I use Calibri, but it could be Calibri, Helvetica, or Verdana, and it needs to be font 42 or larger. This is a very important thing. Those are the three fonts that I recommend. And also, while using images, make sure that you are using images that have common rights. So I mean that they are not copyrighted. That's a very, very important thing. Now, there's two different formats for the screen, and this is also something that you need to take into consideration. There is 16:9, which is the HD format, and this is 4:3, which is a regular TV format. Most people, and also PowerPoint, it's done that way, that you use 4:3. In my eyes, it looks a lot more professional to use 16:9. Now, what is the challenge? That sometimes you arrive to a screen and you have your presentation on in 16:9, and then suddenly the screen only supports 4:3. What do you do in that kind of situation? Well, simple. My suggestion is have your presentation done in both 16:9 and 4:3. I mean, I have arrived into a presentation. I mean, it's a killer. Oh my God, I have it wrongly done. What do I do? Well, have it done in both. I mean, it's just very simple. I do not know if you have something to
Guys, your presentation should be packed, perfected, and ready, placed on a thumb drive. 16:9 aspect ratio, 4.3. Everything should be packed for PC and or Apple. You never know what infrastructure that producer may have. You're talking about a short, concise presentation. And let me add something to the equation that Ted and even Ernesto hasn't focused on here. Personal. Personal. Make it personal. Be willing to relate your life, your pain, how you overcame those challenges, so that you can enable others to thrive, not just survive. The more personal you're willing to make your images and your revelations, the more the audience is going to want to trust you and enable you to take them on this tour de force, this transition, this transformation, this window open wide of opportunity.
Exactly.
Make it personal. So when we talk about make sure the images you're using are legal and proprietary to you, your personal photos from your life, your child.
Absolutely.
The transformation. You fed them different food. They had a disease when they were born. The food changed the condition of that disease. Just eating kale changed your kid's life.
Yeah.
That's revelatory, man. That's empowering.
Yeah.
That's what inspires the audience.
Absolutely, and this actually brings a very good point. I mean, in many of the TED presentations that I have seen, they are pictures that they have taken themselves. So, for example, if you're showing a picture of your home, if you're showing a picture of your kids, if you're showing a picture of something, I mean, just not for saying, well, you know, I have the best home or I have the worst home or whatever. If you can use that image to change your to change the life of someone, and it's a picture taken by you, that's even more powerful. So definitely, that's a great point, Joel.
Not only that, but when you take a picture of your home or your dog or your cat or your child, there's something called sense memory recall.
Yeah.
And in training as an actor, you're not really trying to act. You want it to be real.
Mm-hmm.
Sense memory recall. Your home has a certain feeling associated with it. The money that you had to work so hard for, the sacrifices you made, the compromises you made to own something, how it makes you feel to be there. It affects you physiologically and emotionally. You want it to be emotional. People are investing in your emotional world. The more emotionally fulfilling and real you can make this presentation, the audience is on board.
Exactly.
It's the difference between being remembered and being forgotten at the first point of contact.
Exactly. So once again, here on the format of the slides that you're going to be using, we have the 16 by 9 or the 4 by 3. As you can see, once again, 16 by 9 is the HD format. And one of the questions that everybody asks me, so, but how do you change this? Well, it's not that difficult. In reality, if you do not know how to do it on PowerPoint or on Keynote, which I recommend, this is my experience over a ton of years of speaking. I mean, I have 20-something years of speaking. And in every presentation that I have gone, it doesn't happen that you arrive and they only have a Keynote Mac. It has never happened to me. Every 95% of the presentations are going to be done in PowerPoint and they're going to be done on PC. So if you are a Mac user, if you're a if you love Mac, I get it. I get it. I think it's great. I am a PC user and I think it's fantastic. However, I keep on focusing on my presentations. Whenever I'm going to be presenting, I present in PowerPoint. And once again, as Joe was saying, you need to have your presentation on PowerPoint on a thumb drive, which is going to be that you can play everywhere, because in many cases it's not going to be playing on your computer. It's going to be playing on the organizer's computer, and that's a very important thing that you need to take into consideration. So it's okay to play with both, but make sure that if you're going to be playing with both, you are prepared for every eventuality. I'm going to give you one more tip on this. You could have it on the thumb drive, but also an important thing is possibly also have it on the cloud, because anything can happen. Your luggage could be stolen, could be lost, whatever. And then, where's my presentation? If you have it on the cloud, then you will always have your presentation and you will never be under these kind of circumstances. So just to finish this point, let me just go back to the formatting. I always say, well, if you do not know how to do something, look for a tutorial on YouTube. So find out how on a Keynote or on PowerPoint, how you can extend to 4.3 or to 16.9. And it's just a click of a button, whatever it is. I cannot tell you by heart, but it's just a very simple thing that you can just do, and then you will be prepared for any eventuality. Once again, as we were saying, doesn't matter if you're a PC user or if you are a Mac user. Both of us have different ways of doing things, but in 95% of the cases, people use PowerPoint and PC. Why? Because that's just the standard worldwide. So I know that you could be a Apple lover, but bear in mind that whenever you're going to be presenting, most of the presentation computers and screens are going to be PC based.
I hold in my hand $3,500 state-of-the-art XPS Dell. I hold in my hand a computer that was probably $3,000. This is a small Vio. I have computers I've purchased for $140, a basic Google low end. They all do the same thing. Mm-hmm. We are not talking about a complex presentation here that's going to require a lot of memory. You don't need to spend this kind of money. We're talking about PowerPoint. I worked with Apple 15 years, did their trade shows and marketing. I do not use Apple. Why? Because the world is still 90% plus PC. So do not create a hassle for yourself. If you work on Apple, you save as, you pack your PowerPoint, and you're going to save it in both aspect ratios, 4:3, 16 by 9. You're not going to have a problem. You're going to pack 2 or 3 memory sticks.
Yeah.
You're going to put one in your luggage, one in your pocket. You're going to put one on the cloud. You're going to email. Your presentation should fit in an email attachment to yourself. This is really a no-brainer, guys. You prepare yourself for any possible failure, and then you don't have it.
Yeah.
I'm an outs and precautions guy. The advice Ernesto is giving you here is massive. It's not complicated. We're talking about you having maybe 7 images put into a PowerPoint. And I'm going to, if we have time, Ernesto, and even if we don't, I'll continue if I have to without you, but I'm going to show them how simple this can be right here at the end of this training.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important. I mean, of course I have the time, because this is just a very important thing, and of course it's part of the training that we're giving in advance, so that before they get there. Now, let me just go again into the picture part, and I think it's also a very important thing for you to know. And most people don't really link the size of a picture to the size of the screen that they're going to be showing. And of course, I mean, they're used of seeing presentations in front of their computer screen. Now, when you're going to be connected to an LCD projector, you have to take this into consideration. I mean, if you are in America, or even in Latin America, you're going to be on the NTSC system, this is the dimensions of the screen, 525 times 700. That's going to be the pixels that you're going to be having there. Then if you go to HD, as you can see, there's a complete different format, the green format, and then we have the Super HD, and then which is the 10 by 80 HD. Now, why am I showing you this? Because another of the things that I have seen that people make a big mistake is they think that if it looks nice, if the picture looks nice on their computer screen, it's going to look very nice on the LCD projector. And I have seen many people messing up because they present a presentation that doesn't have the capability of expanding to a larger size. So the point that I want to put across here is that if you're going to be including a picture on your presentation, make sure that it's at least 1,280 times 720, because if you take a smaller picture, it's going to be pixelated on the screen and you're going to look like a fool. This is a very common mistake that I see even professionals doing. So please take this into consideration. As a minimum, the size of the picture that you're going to be including on your slide needs to be 1,280 times 720. That's it's a piece of advice that I can give you over a number of years of presenting, and also seeing other presenters make this mistake.
This is a brilliant insight. Most professional speakers don't even know this. Professionals. The one exception is if you're using child photos from 50 years ago, 40 years ago, and you're making a point about your childhood, and all you have is a low resolution black and white photo of your grandfather, I would use that still. Even if it's not optimal, the audience can relate to the significance historically.
Yeah.
But that's the only exception. You really want high resolution.
Yeah, brilliant point. Brilliant point. Now, on the next topic on pictures, I want to bring across something which I think is also very important. And I'm using Disney here as an example, because Disney is one of the most, I mean, they protect their brand and they protect any single thing that they have very strongly. Now, a lot of people think that you cannot use a picture of Disney. You cannot use Mickey Mouse, or you cannot use Goofy, or you cannot use Peter Pan, or whatever. That is correct if you're not giving the source and the copyright. Now, look at this picture down here. If you actually put copyright Walt Disney Productions, and you mention, and this is an important thing, you mention, well, look at this character from Disney, look at Jasmine, or look at Baloo, or look at Donald, and it is from Disney, and you mention that it is Disney, and you have here underneath Walt Disney Production copyright, it would be the exact equivalent of making if you're talking about a source on a book. You can always say, well, I read it on this book, and you mention the source of the book. So one of the things that you can use, if you don't have to do it, don't do it. But if you have to use and talk about something else and you're afraid, because this is a question that a lot of people ask me, make sure that you give a quote, make a copyright of where it is, and always, whenever you're talking, well, this belongs to Disney, and then you can show it as an example. Showing it as an example is not a problem. Using it, not showing it as an example, and putting it there without having any mentioning of where it's coming from, that is wrong. So this is just a side thing that I wanted to share, because many people ask this question to me when we are putting together presentations. This is just a short note.
I agree with you, and you are caring about these people enough to make this comment, but I will tell you that I worked with Disney. I did a movie called Magic Journeys,
Yeah.
I was 18 years old.
I remember that film.
It ran in the park every 11 minutes for 7.5 years.
Yeah.
And I am not allowed to mention in print that I was a part of the movie.
Yeah.
It won an Academy Award for special effects. I did the special effects, but I could not take credit for them. They wouldn't allow me.
Exactly.
So you got to understand something here. If you can avoid it, and that's what Ernesto's saying here, don't use someone else's proprietary data unless it's a must, an absolute, and then overly and with great specificity, let people know that it belongs to them.
Exactly.
And that you are promoting, and don't say anything derogatory, because your cost could be $50,000 to $5 million for even one mistake.
Exactly. But anyway, you're 100%. The reason why I'm putting it is because it's a question that keeps on coming over and over, and I want just to make that distinction. But you're just even making it better, so that if you don't have to use it, don't use it. But in the case that it's just an absolute most that you need to use it, then use it as we are telling you.
In one of my presentations, I have a picture of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it zooms in, and he's throwing out his web. Boom. And I say, ladies and gentlemen, with great power, and the audience says, comes great responsibility. And I'm talking about that we are responsible for outcomes. At which point I say, Stan Lee, and then I have a picture of him, created this amazing image, and it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to Stan Lee. And then the copyright pops in. Mm-hmm. And it's a tribute to his creation. And I let him know, I don't own this, but I was impacted by this as a child. You must always credit the source.
Exactly.
So if you credit your source, you should be okay, but we are not promising you anything here. It is better.
We're not lawyers.
It is better to leave out
the
creation of others.
Yeah, exactly. Very good point. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a couple of tricks on how I create tremendous impact on presentations. See, for example, this is a picture which is HD quality. So it's the 1080, 1920 times 720. You can see it's very clear, it's very sharp, it looks very nice. So how can you use, I have seen people also using slides and then putting text over the slide. On this one, you can see it because, of course, there's a contrast. There's the red and the white against the darker background. Let me just show you exactly how I can use the picture. I can still have the power of it. And you can also add text if you need to do it. As you saw, this slide was at the very beginning of this presentation. So what you do is you create a black transparent background. So I just added a black transparent background. You can still see the picture, but it's a little bit less clear. And then afterwards, you can have the text that you want to do there. Now, obviously, there's a ton of text there. I don't recommend you to do that. But if you need to present text, this is a great and very impactful way of doing it. Now, let me show you exactly how I do this. Well, very simple. I first select the picture. I select a picture which is going to have a strong impact. Once again, it needs to be high quality so that it just shows nicely on HD. You have it really nice there. Then the next thing I do is I get a black cover. You can see here the black cover. So, for example, all my slides are going to look like this. Then I make it a little bit transparent, as you can see there, and then I add up my text. And then the slide looks really nice, looks very professional, and looks very nicely presented, once again, on Helvetica, on Calibri, and on Verdana. And this is just a fast trick on how you can make your slides look incredibly professional without really having to use a professional slide maker or designer.
And the other beauty of this is, once you have that one slide, you can swap the photos, copy paste the slide. You could have 50 of them, and then you can double click on Helvetica or Verdana, whatever you're choosing, Calibri, and then that's it. It's a 3-minute. You can redo an entire presentation in 3 minutes by changing the photos, just sliding them in. Everything stays the same in the front,
Yeah.
That easy. That's a huge insight.
Yeah, that's a great insight. And of course, the slides look super professional. And once again, all you need to do is just have one point. Your point is there, your picture is there, and everything is created very fast. And you're going to look like a total pro.
So Ernesto,
yeah,
go back one slide. I want you to tell me what this slide means to you. No, go forward to the child and the airplane.
Yeah, well, I use this slide a lot because I am a pilot. And everything I do, I found out throughout my life that flying is a metaphor for everything. I mean, you need to be able to land a business. You need to be able to take off you need to take off in your life. And I always try to, that communicates who I am. So immediately, and that's a great question. Thank you for asking this, because this communicates specifically who I am. This is how I see myself. I am that kid which is teaching other kids to play with the sky, with the world, with the possibilities. And I love planes. And I mean, my training programs are not training programs. They are designed specifically. I mean, I always say that they are my pilots, and I have an aircraft carrier, and every single thing I do, it's always related to aviation, because that describes exactly who I am.
So when I look at this image, Ernesto, if I had never heard you speak, and this is just placed before me, and this was my first image, I would walk out on the stage and I would actually look at that picture. I'd come out in front of the audience, and then I would turn and I go, what do you see? What do you see in this image? I saw a world without limitation. My mother never told me it couldn't be done. I hope that you had a mother like mine. I see in this image childlike curiosity, the fact that everything was not only possible, but I had no concept of fear, no concept of something not being possible. Everything truly was possible. What if, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 5 minutes, there was a shift in your life where you realize that everything you've been shelving for another day, procrastinating on, everything that doesn't seem probable or plausible was suddenly possible. By show of hands, how many of you would invite and embrace that kind of shift?
Beautiful.
So one image like this could represent your whole relationship to the audience and could set up the title of your event, which is Everything is Suddenly Possible as a Result of Only One Shift. That could be your title.
Yeah, awesome.
A world of the possible. And this whole idea of images driving your communication are so mission critical, because we could interpret this. I could also come out and say the conditions of the solitary bird are 5. 1, that it flies to the highest point. 2, that it does not suffer for others, not even of its own kind. 3, that it has no definite color. 4, that it sings. So you get the idea. I could tie this into a poem.
Yeah.
I could interpret this 100,000 different ways.
Exactly. And it also has the link for The Little Prince, which is a great movie also. So you can also link that story to this picture. So yeah, absolutely. You can base your entire presentation on one slide.
And this particular slide, because of the use of negative space, it has all this white around it with the cloud formations. This slide could stay there, and there could be 4 or 3 circles that appear around it, where it becomes a map, exactly. A life map connection, and each one is connected to one another, and that you're at the end of the presentation, all of them fade out, and the color, which is in black and white, becomes full color, because you are brought to fruition and your dreams manifest. And then you walk off to blackout. So this picture is very powerful. Anyway, continue.
Love it. I love the idea. So anyway, at the very end, what they say in TED, and I also recommend here tremendously, is rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. One thing is to rehearse in your mind. The other thing is to rehearse in front of others. And one of the things that we're going to be doing there also there in Dubai is going to be rehearsing. But what I would not like you guys to do is to arrive to Dubai in a state of expectancy. I haven't started. I haven't done my presentation. I haven't thought about I think if you're going to be arriving there, you need to be as prepared as you possibly can with your presentation, ready to be polished, not ready to be created and ready to be started, but ready to be polished, and get ready to start already crafting it and really making it, fine-tuning it. Because if not, I mean, it's going to be very difficult for you to achieve a great talk that is going to be put on as a sample reel. And that's why the rehearsal, it's very powerful. I can tell you the first 3, 4, 5 times that you do it, it's not going to be perfect. And one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, try to do your presentation to as many people as possible, so that the time that you arrive to Dubai, you are ready to start just fine-tuning it, and not, oh, I haven't done my presentation is not ready, because that's going to kill your investment.
So repetition and frequency is the mother of a new behavior. And Peter Vidmar, prior to winning the gold medal in the Olympics, who had failed 4 years earlier, they asked him when he won the gold medal, how did you do it? And he said, practice makes, and the interviewer said, perfect. And he said, no, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. It makes for a new permanent behavior. So when we say rehearse, you want to rehearse it as if it's the first time, as if you're having an awakening, as if it's an enlightening experience in front of the audience, as if you're sharing something with them that is so precious, so monumental in your life, this breakthrough, this transformation, this form of, aha, I needed to know this. The audience will only relate to you, love and embrace you, if they're having an experience there that is emotionally congruent. And so rehearsal is so that you don't have to think about the words anymore. The words don't have to be memorized at that point. In fact, Ernesto and I would rather you don't memorize, because if you memorize and you miss even one word,
yeah,
it throws you off. We want you to compartmentalize. We want you to take that picture, that image, that slide, if you're using slides, or that concept in a specific sequence, and have rehearsed it so many times that a script has begun to surfaced, and then is locked into your emotional reality. And I'll give you an example of this in a moment. The first image in my presentation is a child with an airplane. And so I visualize that. And I know when I walk out on the stage, on the platform, and by the way, the platform is the same platform you're standing on or sitting on right now with your feet firmly planted. Your platform is wherever you are. Your personality shouldn't change one iota, not a modicum of change when you go on stage. It's you. It's all about your reality. Because if you're yourself and not someone else, as Ernesto mentioned earlier, then they're going to have a chance at relating to you. And that relationship with your audience is what will compel them, motivate and inspire them to want to be with you again, to learn from you, to do more of an investigation, to look you up, to possibly acquire your service, your support, your boot camp, buy your book, invest in your online program, be a part of your masterclass. So this is very important, this rehearsal. Over and over again. I teach all my students minimum 50 times.
Yep.
50 times. Over and over again. So my first image is a child with an airplane. How many of you, like this child, saw no limitations? That there was a point early on with your imagination where you were able to play. You weren't thinking about taxes, the death of a parent, the pressures placed upon you in a relationship which is based on compromise, a relationship of codependency versus being independent. There was a time where you were unencumbered, where you were open to everything, and everything was suddenly possible. Now you know that you've made your point in 40 seconds. The next slide materializes.
Exactly.
And now it has that child embracing a loved one. But bear in mind, we're going to be overseas. You want to think very carefully about showing images with touch. And so Ernesto and I want to make a point here. It's really mission critical. If you're escorted like myself with my wife to Dubai, you go to Bahrain, you cannot hold hands. You cannot kiss on the cheek. You cannot publicly show affection.
If it is your, you shouldn't. That is actually the most important thing. You shouldn't. Obviously, it's not going to be a legal issue. You're not going to get put in jail for anything like that. But obviously, I mean, you need to be respectful of the culture. And one of the things that we're going to be doing prior to the session, I mean, we're going to be going to the Sheikh Mohammed Center of Cultural Understanding, which this is just the most incredible experience while there in Dubai, because you're going to really understand Islam in the way that it should be understood. It will change your mindset completely. But before we do that, I'm gonna give a 1.5 hour presentation on cultural values and cultural issues, on how everything works, not only in Dubai, but also in the entire Islamic world, which is very big, but also that works in the Far East, that works in many places, which I think, in my case, for example, that is just a critical thing for an event organizer. An event organizer needs to train their speakers so that they will be able to shine. And that's one of the things that we're going to be doing prior that we are having the session, so they don't have to worry too much about all those things.
It is really mission critical, guys. You realize Absolutely. When you engineer or design your presentation, the way you're going to be perceived, to be culturally sensitive.
Yeah.
If I'm going to Australia and I live in the United States, in the United States, we have a term called, I'm really on your side. I'm rooting for you, like a fan, like a cheerleader, rooting. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
Well, I use this term in Australia, and it has something to do with sex there. And the audience was petrified.
Yeah.
You must learn.
Yeah.
Hand gestures. This doesn't mean okay in Asia. It means something different. We need to be culturally sensitive.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially because, of course, we're talking about creating international speakers, because in the United States, there's too much competition. In the UK, there's too much competition. In Australia, there's too much competition. Bigger markets are when you go abroad. And the one of the things that are heavily criticized by Americans is, oh yeah, that's too American. Like, well, explain to me what too American is. But if we think about it, what I think my perception of being too American is that they are too involved in themselves. I mean, they don't really understand the point of view from abroad. And that, I think, it's a very important point. So it's great that you brought it up.
Mission critical. And I will tell you something, and I'm not trying to scare you guys, but someone in Dubai kissed their wife openly on the lips. Not cool.
Yeah.
So not cool. And Ernesto, we want you to know that you're going to the safest place on the planet. I've traveled this world many times around. Singapore, one of the safest 3 locations on the planet. Dubai, I will feel more comfortable the moment I arrive in Dubai than I do in Los Angeles, California. I am staying, in this case, at Novotel. The hotels are fantastic. They're inexpensive. You can spend a lot if you want. You can spend a little if you want. 4-star, 5-star. The food is fantastic. The water, just get over your whole idea of being out of your comfort zone. You're not going to want to leave.
Yeah.
They call it the Las Vegas. Let me tell you something. Las Vegas to me is tacky, but it has some of the finest restaurants in the world. Dubai is not tacky. It has the excitement of Las Vegas, but it has cultured, intelligent, respectful, dignified. It's one of the safest places on the planet. I am so looking forward to getting back there. My wife is delighted. The shopping, the energy. You're going to have an incredible trip. And in fact, it's going to elevate your presentation just being in this new environment. Don't worry about the jet lag. I'm going in a day or two early just to stabilize. Generally, when you cross the timeline, it's only when you go home that you sometimes have. Yeah. So just relax. Come expecting this wonderful, look at this like a paid vacation you get to write off. This is a vacation you get to write off. This is specialized education. You're going to come back with the proof that you worked. That videotape is the proof that you actually did something to help your business, your communication, how you oscillate, your energy, how you put yourself out there in the world. One of the few times you've invested in something where you can prove you actually did something.
Yeah, I agree.
The relationships are going to be amazing. I know I'm going to come back with relationships for life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's just get back to the very last point, which is the 6 and 7, the stage time. And this is, as you have already practiced, and I think one point on the rehearsal on the practice, they always say that the athletes always see the run or the dive that they're going to do or whatever they're going to practice, they're practicing in their minds. I think when Joel talks about practicing at 50 times, unless he says otherwise, I know very well that you can practice 100 times, 150 times, 200 times inside of your mind. You can see yourself so that when you arrive to the stage, it's just a natural thing. It's just like if your mind cannot make the difference between something that you vividly imagine and something that actually happened. So this is now the time for you to give your talk. So you inhale, you exhale, you have already practiced it a number of times, and then you go and deliver your presentation and get everybody in awe. You get everybody to clap. Possibly, why not? You will get everybody to give you a standing ovation, which is going to be recorded on the video, and that is going to be the start of your own speaking career, and it's going to be awesome. Bear in mind, we are, as we were saying, we are working on the second stage there in Bahrain, which is going to be great. And of course, it's going to be a showcase for what you can do, not only on the video, but there are possibilities. There on the Internet City, we are having some decision makers that might say, well, I would like to know about more about that speaker. Bahrain's going to happen the same thing. And that is just basically the end of it. And then hopefully we will go to step number 7, which is savor the glory. Now, let me just go into the very last point of this conversation, and a question that everybody asks me when I am teaching how to do a talk like this. It's, how do I end? It's not like, well, you do the presentation and you finish the presentation and you say, well, you want more information, here's my business card, because that will just kill everything. What is exactly what you need to do in order for you to create that excitement that you need in order for you to use that video to sell more of yourself? Well, look at these 2 pictures that I'm going to show you. You can see here, this is how the movies used to finish in the 1950s. Or the 1940s or the 1930s. If you think about it, why do we actually need to see the end? Isn't it clear that it's the end? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But then we also saw how Warner Brothers was showing you in the cartoons, and I'm sure that you remember Porky Pig or Daffy Duck or Elmer Fudd talking. I'm sure that when the moment that you saw this, you remember that music that was going on. That's all, folks. And then suddenly Bugs Bunny would be showing up there. Well, what was the feeling that this was creating instead of the end? Oh, that's all? Is it really that's all? I would like to know more. I would like to find out more. And that's exactly the feeling that you have to bring to people. Oh my God, that talk was great. How could I find more information? You, of course, are not going to say it, but that's the feeling that you want to leave behind the audience. Because if you manage to get that feeling done, and we are going to be helping you create that expectancy, that feeling of expectancy, because that is going to make the best impact in your video.
An open loop is what I recommend for all of you. Mm-hmm. And so when I end the presentation, it is very clear that these 10 moves not only have generated millions of dollars for those I've shared them with. But if I only had more time with you, I am limited by the conditions of these presentations are 7 minutes or 18 minutes on a TED stage, whatever it is. So you let the audience know. How many of you know that if we only had more time to polish, perfect, and integrate you into the process, your outcome would be huge, potentially huge. I only hope and wish that in the future, I will be able to embrace all of you, personally train you, and take you somewhere you've never been before.
Beautiful finish.
So I want all of you to do something. If you can, I want you to go and secure your name. JoelBauer.com is my name. ErnestoVerdugo.com. MitchCarson.com. Bonnie, we get the idea. If you can't, make sure that when someone searches under your name, there's a pointer that takes them somewhere where they can find out more about you. Because it is not appropriate when you're on someone else's stage to necessarily give out a website.
Yeah.
However, if they know your name and it was used in introducing you, they will naturally do a search under your name and they will find me. And the first search they're going to do is yourname.com. That's how it works. This is the key to you using this as a fulcrum, as a lever point to promote and position other potentially very lucrative opportunities. You can launch a career from what it is you are manifesting through this event. This is a big one, guys and gals, a very big one.
Yeah, fantastic advice. Well, Joe, I think from my side, I have already covered everything that I needed to cover. I hope in your eyes it was just complete enough to walk everybody through the process. And I mean, I don't know if you have any further advice. I'm sure that you have.
I'm going to exit the full screen here. Would you let go of your screen there for a sec, and I will take them to my screen?
Yes. So I just stop share. Okay, there we go.
And now I'm going to share my screen with them, my desktop. And by the way, we're using Zoom. I'm going to close down my notes there and a few other things that are going on. So we're now working blank slate. Ernesto, this is going to be over a 2-hour training. I hope I'm not consuming too much time. I
am fine. I just need to make a small technical stop. I'll be back in 1 second.
No problem. While you're doing that, I'm going to open up here. And I'm going to open up something called my Insta TEDx Talk Builder. And I'm only showing you a fragment of it. And you will see that it's opening up here. And in a moment, when Ernesto returns, I will show you how this works, exactly how it works. The second thing I'm going to open up here is an external drive. And this particular external drive will contain some images that I may want to pull from. It'll take a second to tap in there. This is all done in real time. Here's my Profit Point Master. This is a 7-8 day event that I conduct. It's changed a lot of lives. I'm going in here and I'm going into preparation files for the event. Actually, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to show you how simple this really is. If we were to go online right now, and I'm inside the box here, I have a limitation, I think, with Zoom. Each one of the pictures you see here, I dragged in from a database of pictures that I've purchased from iStock.com, Corbis, or any other service. Now, I could have gone online and just searched on Google, but then you don't own the photos, and you run the risk of a lawsuit. Not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ernesto, you'll see there are a bunch of pictures here. And
Yeah.
you'll also see that if I were to open up, go on to here, and I'm just going to go under marketing tools, Joel Bauer, and I'm going to go under some of my favorite pictures.
Yeah.
Here's a standard PowerPoint, Ernesto.
Mm-hmm.
Standard PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I'm going to drag a picture of my family into the gray area. And that's very personal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go down into my personal photos here. And I'm going to drag a picture of me on television with, do you know who that man is?
Yeah, it's what's his name? Yeah, Martin Short. What's his name?
Martin Short.
Martin Short. Yeah.
Really good. You're sharp. Now, I'm dragging a picture of my audience collection. These are people responding at my events. And I'm going to drag a picture of my son's fascination with music and his commitment to something that has completely enveloped his life. He'll be leaving for Berkeley soon, Berkeley School of Music, one of the finest schools on the planet. And the only way I could afford to send him there, that I know of, is because of speaking and what it's done for me.
Yeah.
Money is no longer a concern. I'm able to take care of my family and not have to compromise my dignity. I get to make the kind of money that celebrities and royalty generate, but I have my privacy and my autonomy. What an amazing business.
Yeah, beautiful.
And finally, I get to train people at something that will save them the 20 to 40 year learning curve. So I just built an entire presentation by dragging photos from a standard file index.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's just put a green light on this, shall we? So I'm going to move this green border. These images I can move around. I can make them mean whatever I want them to mean. And I just randomly threw these into a file index. I want to show people how easy I'm going to make this for them at the event. But if you make it personal, so let me take a look at these images over here and let me enhance to 75%. And let's just see where this comes, full circle. I start with family. I was on a plane on my way to you. So my first image is a plane. I come here with permission from my family. I've done some extraordinary things in life that have enabled me to empower others and foster their dreams. There we go. So I just created a presentation in a matter of seconds. And I will now perform it for you, having had absolutely no idea of what I would create. I swear to you, Ernesto, this was not planned. I'm just dragging pictures of my life into a framework. Imagine sitting on a plane on the way to Dubai, traveling internationally, which I'm very familiar with, knowing that inside my heart, I have something that will enable every one of you to become closer to your family. My daughter Chanel, my daughter Brianna, my son Sterling, our 5 dogs, my wife Cherie. I travel the world communicating from my heart, something that gave me all the financial solutions that I would require to retire by age 33, to live my life on my own terms and never have to compromise. And my children always ask me one question. They say, Daddy, you've been on television, you've written books, you've trained celebrities and people that are unknown. If you go to Dubai, will they have what we have? Will they have the private schooling? Will they be okay financially and never have to worry about money? Will they have the freedom that we've had to travel all over the world as children? Will they have everything we have? And I say, no, they won't. they'll have more. Because when I go to Dubai, I will empower them with skill sets, tools, and techniques, a systematic way of taking care of their family, not in 40 years, because it took me 40 years to figure it out and perfect it. I can transfer to them in a matter of minutes or hours solutions that will enable their children to pursue their dream, as I have for you, Sterling, and Chanel and Brianna. They said, Daddy, go to Dubai and train those people. Give them everything you have. Because if you can save them the 20 to 40 year learning curve, that's going to make all the difference in their life. If you can take them in a matter of minutes and have them closely relate to one another, have accountability partnerships and alliance partners, that's going to make all the difference, Dad. And my wife says to me, when you get back, in just a matter of days, we will be here continuing to do what we love, because you have afforded us that opportunity not to have to compromise our life, but to do what it is we love. And so today, ladies and gentlemen, I want nothing more than for you applying these three techniques. And I only wish that I had more time with you, but there are rules, and the rules here were 7 minutes. And so I bid you a farewell for now until you find me in the future. And you will find me with open heart and open mind, willing to give all that I have to help you in your life so that you can give all that you have, do what you love, and people will invest in learning from you.
Wow.
So there's an ad lib.
That's awesome.
Now,
Love
I probably spoke for 2 minutes just now. Ernesto, I will now build a TED Talk without using my personal pictures.
Yeah.
Now, you must admit that if I had only done that, Ernesto, stood on a stage with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 images, finished in under 7 minutes, and only communicated my offer without teaching anything, Ernesto,
Yeah.
wouldn't that have been enough?
Absolutely.
So guys, don't make this more complicated than you have to. And I can convert that 16:9, 4:3. That was a 4:3 ratio.
Yeah.
So Ernesto, I want you now to give me any topic you'd like me to speak on, and I will make something up with no knowledge, zero, tabula rasa, clean slate. And I will build a presentation based on generic images, and I will perform a TED Talk right here for your group that I will build in no longer than a minute.
Yeah.
Using a bunch of images. So I want you to give me a topic. It can be anything. And I want you to promise me, Ernesto, we haven't discussed this. This is not a setup.
Absolutely not a setup. First time I'm hearing this, that you're going to do this, and I think it's very daring.
And
also,
why
I love it. I love it.
Why you think about that, I'm going 5 feet from here to get some water.
Yeah.
So think about your topic that you want me to teach.
Yeah.
And I will immediately, with no preparation, be able to do so.
Yeah.
I'm back and I'm ready. And ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
attending this Dubai, Bahrain experience with Ernesto Verdugo, Mitch Carson, Joel Bauer, Bonnie, and a faculty that cares about you. We want you to know something. We're experiencing this with you. I'm going to be doing my talk, and I'm going to have the same pressure on me that you have on you. Perhaps I have more experience. Perhaps I trust my instrument. But I can assure you, I too will have concerns. And together, we will stand together. And together, we will be videotaped from the right angles, professionally photographed. Together, we will go on television, speak for a minute. Once you figure this out, you automatically are prepared for television. I'll be helping you with that as well. So will Mitch, Ernesto, we're all qualified. Bonnie, incredibly talented. Radio, it's just another interview. We'll help you manifest the questions. You'll hand them to the interviewer. They'll ask you the questions. If you can't answer the questions that you give to someone else, then you're a moron. I want you to listen to me carefully. If you've written the questions and you can't answer them, then that's just ridiculous. You're going to be able to answer the questions because you're going to write them. So we're going to help you through every step of the process. Okay, Ernesto, what's my topic?
Your topic is going to be changing the perception of the West for the Middle East.
Wow. Excellent. Here's my green mark. And so I'm going to start in front of the green. I've got a minute. My first image will be direction. My second image will be clarity. My third image will be compliance. My fourth image, this is not a setup, guys. My fourth image will be being sensitive to where you're going, which now becomes my second image. Compliance becomes my third. Remember, I'm doing this quickly. I now want to have a magic wish fulfilled. I ultimately want to be closer to my family. I want to change the way that I am perceived. And I want to be, most importantly, there's no quick fix. There is no magic pill. Done. And it's a new take on life will be my conclusion, my call to action. And I'll start with the flight because that works as well. Plus the payoff. My green goes in place and I am now ready. Wow, Joel, that's kind of interesting. Well, let's see how interesting it is. I turn on my PowerPoint. And without hesitation, I begin. Traveling to Dubai, traveling to Bahrain, traveling to Puttaparthi, India, Bangladesh, Israel. I remember that I needed to be sensitive. I needed to be sensitive to a new direction, a new culture, that I needed to go online and evaluate who I'd be meeting and what was appropriate in that environment. I need to show respect for those people if I expect those people to respect my wishes and to communicate with me on terms where I can make my dreams come true, because traveling is a dream for many. And there are things that I want. I want to learn about those cultures. I want to expand my horizons. And as a human being, I want to expand my consciousness. And so in order to have that magic genie working for you, there is no magic pill. There is no quick fix to an open heart and an open mind. It's a decision to know that you're going somewhere different, that you're making a commitment to embracing a different lifestyle, and that you're going to be aware of the laws, the rules that govern, the belief systems, the consciousness, because from there we have enlightenment. We have growth in our spiritual quest on our path for greater meaning with our family. We come back from that trip because we've made that transition, because we have allowed other people to contribute and teach us about other cultures, other languages, other religions and belief systems, other socio-political infrastructures. A global consciousness enables us to bring back to our children a sense of peace and prosperity. It enables us to reshape and retool how we are perceived. It enables us to polish and to some degree perfect our humanity, that heart that enables us to give to our children and beyond. So I want you all to know that when you make this commitment to having us protect and preserve all that is important to you, when you embrace this opportunity to go on this trip with Joel Bauer and Mitch Carson and Ernesto Verdugo and Bonnie and the amazing faculty that's going to support you, that you are protecting yourself and you are holding us accountable so that we will hold your hand and nurture you through the process. And your outcome might transcend anything you've ever imagined. Money may become no concern because of your ability, having embraced and transitioned to a new culture where you felt safer than you've ever felt before. It was a new take on life. And so this is a new take. This is not a motion picture or television show. This is your life. And your life is worth living. And so when you embrace this transition and this new consciousness, it becomes take one on a new life that you've redesigned, rewired, retooled, and get to experience so much more. Welcome to your new world that will impact so many lives. So,
Awesome.
How long was that? Maybe 3 minutes?
Yeah, three and a half. Fabulous. And I mean, you just proved the point that it is doable, and just by doing this is awesome. Fantastic. I loved it.
So just imagine, Ernesto, and everyone listening in, that at the conclusion of our training here, you decided to become fearless. We're not saying you have no fear. You simply fear less. And that we will help you. I will have a set of images with specific motivation for each image. I will teach them in such a way that you will see. It's one thing to talk about it. You'll understand some of it. Another thing to see me do something and you'll understand more because you can see it and you have a feeling about it. But what if you could actually experience it? I'm going to enable you, empower you to relate to a process on an experiential level that'll make this all very simple. That's if you come with no plan. We'd rather you come with a plan. We'd rather that you, like many of the professional speakers that are joining us, who know exactly what they're going to do. They're just coming for the television, radio, print, world stage, TEDx type experience in potentially 2 countries. They're coming for just that. That in and of itself is a steal. They know how much they'd have to pay to make that happen through a publicist. And to have international exposure and a sizzle reel and professionally edited video, multi-camera shoot, plus all the professional photography and all the evening experiences that you don't even know about yet that are going to enrich you culturally and emotionally. But what about the others that aren't professionals? So maybe you are a bit confused. Maybe this training was just to inspire you, to let you know that you're in good hands. We'd love you to prepare. So tonight, begin dreaming. Today, begin dreaming. Is there something you're in touch with? Are you an expert at skiing down a hill? Have you been skiing for the last 36 years the way I have, where it's unconscious competence? Your knees move. Your shoulders are always facing downhill. It's totally effortless. It's not even exercise. When I ski, it's not exercise. I'm not even heavy breathing, even on the most aggressive terrain. I'm just fluidly moving down the hill. And when I do it, I don't think about anything else. I'm in the moment and I'm for the moment. And the moment is so precious. It's like the highest level of meditation. When I ski down that hill, it's a moment of clearance. It's a moment where I'm not thinking about someone I'm close to in harm's way in a hospital bed. I'm not thinking about a bill or a concern or a challenge. I'm of single mind, fluidly focused down the hill in nature, outside experiencing an abundant state of mind. So what did I just do? You could take a hobby, contrast it metaphorically to what it really means. Bowling, macrame, painting. You can take something close to you. Doesn't have to be a business. Or you can take the business that you're a part of and look for the good in that business or look for the lessons that you've learned. That could be your presentation. Or it could be something that you have fascination with, that you study online. Maybe you're particularly good with Facebook or Twitter, and you want to teach 3 principles that would enable others to monetize or become well known or accepted as a leader in their field. Maybe you wrote a book and you want to show someone how to write their book, and you break it down to 3 steps: to conceive it, to allow your heart to release it, and then to just talk to another person over a weekend about what you believe in and transcribe the recording. And now your book is done. Add pictures, table of contents, bibliography, slap a cover on it. Done. Next thing you know, you've got a bestseller. I just taught you in 3 moves how to write a book. So we're asking you right now to conceive of the idea. Find something you're passionate about, something interesting to you, a hobby, romance. Maybe you're an expert at giving advice. Talk about that. There are no rules here. There's no conformity here. Anything you believe in, anything that inspires you emotionally, that's going to be an excellent topic. If you happen to know something and you can prove it with data that supports it, and it's interesting with the right pictures, that's good too. There's no wrong. Just come from the heart. Connect with the audience and share with them your gift. Ernesto.
Absolutely, I love it. I mean, it's you just did a master class in 5 or 10 minutes. It's just fabulous. It encompasses every. I mean, we now taught the left brain. Now you really went into the right brain to finalize the presentation. I love it. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Well, Ernesto, you're doing it any other way, my man, could have threatening consequences.
Absolutely.
Not to come from the heart can cost you your life with an audience.
Yeah.
Not to come from emotion. People invest emotionally, and the heartbeat of America, the heartbeat of the international audience, is not based on the keyboard. No matter how much we travel from place to place, it'll never replace face-to-face. We are building a new life for these people. This event is not just about the media, but it's about building a new perspective. How you are perceived, how you are received. This event in Dubai and Bahrain, with all the training and all the camaraderie and galvanizing these people, is going to put them in the position of the eagle that soars, an endangered species, one of the few people on the planet who can communicate from truth, authenticity, and proof. And so this is your awakening. We invite you to pour your heart into this love affair with communication, to just come from truth and to stop worrying. Find something you're passionate about, and we will plug you in and prove that it works.
Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. I love it. It's really powerful. I'm very, very touched, and I think it's just awesome. Whoever is watching this, I mean, it's just an incredible gift. Fantastic, Joel. Well, now we have just reached at this very point the 2 hours. So I think even we are finishing on time, which I think it's perfect. Just showing exactly that we walk the talk.
2-hour training, which makes sense to me. And we just want you to know here, on behalf of Ernesto, and quite frankly, I'm privileged to have been invited by Mitch Carson, my long-term friend, who brought me into the speaking industry at a different angle. I had been doing it from the platform. I now get to meet Ernesto, who has such a beautiful heart and such incredible training skills, and has made this I'm very excited. My wife, who generally isn't very interested, is very excited about the event. And who knows, maybe we'll get her up there. Some people are in observation mode. I just want you all to know, I'm going to give you all I got. I got a lot. Ernesto is going to give you all he has. Why don't you end it?
All right. Okay, everyone. Well, it is an absolute pleasure to have shared this information with you. Take the homework seriously. Make sure that you arrive there, not to start doing your presentation. I mean, Joe has shown to you how easy could be just to get the pictures, get everything done, rehearse a little bit, and get it done so that we can, when you arrive to the ride, we can start already crafting the presentation exactly to fit who you are, even though it's not 100% finished at this point. But take it there, make it happen, and we're going to have an amazing time. I can guarantee you that you're going to love Dubai. The energy in Dubai is it has this universal energy that it makes you want to come back. This is going to be your first time for sure. It's not going to be your last, and I look forward to seeing you very soon in Dubai.
My wife and I are flying direct from Los Angeles International. It's 15 hours. I will be spending probably 8 of those hours in rehearsal with my images on this little laptop. I'll be going over it emotionally. I'll be talking to myself internally. I will record my ideas on each PowerPoint image so I can listen in my headphones, noise canceling, can't hear anything else, little 12-inch screen, images floating by. I rehearse over and over and over and over and over and over and over. I take a break, I take a walk, I take a nap, I watch a movie, I rehearse a little more, I have some food, I hug my wife for the last time. And that's how you do it, guys. iPad, telephone, however it is, all of your images are set up for you. I have an index right here. Inside my index, I will have my presentation just as I do right here. My presentation is based on emotion. She can't sleep because she's so excited about her trip to Dubai. She's got the answer, the ability to go on television, radio, newspaper. She's in celebration mode because she knows when she comes back to her children and her husband, she's going to be able to prove that she's done something that's going to launch her career and bring her closer to her children because she'll be able to travel with them, making the kind of money she's never made before in her business where she opened her door and waited for customers. She's going to be able to educate her children, homeschool them, do whatever is required to be closer to family, which is ultimately the only thing that's important, and live the good life. When you go to Dubai, you're going to be mixing with the affluent. You're going to be one of the affluent mixers and movers and shakers. And our gift to you is television, radio, print, and an opportunity to speak on the world's largest platform, the platform called Your Heart. And it all starts over again. She can't sleep. So guys, I'm all about rehearsal, and I'm all about getting it ingrained emotionally. So even if you don't have complex tools, this laptop's worth about $30 now. It's 3 years old. This phone, nothing's worth much. You can afford to have PowerPoint. You can afford to borrow an iPod, put it on there, rehearse it over and over again, an iPad. You can afford to do this. And if you can't afford anything, then get yourself some index cards, a stack of index cards, and put your dreams on those cards and go through them, look at your watch, each image, make up some flashcards, great way to do it. Get it ingrained, put your notes on them, make it personal. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have any problem.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ernesto.
All right, thank you.
My pleasure.